Stop eating these 5 foods. After 60, they clog your arteries and boost stroke. Risk. Have you ever looked down at your breakfast plate and wondered, is this really good for my heart? Maybe it's a slice of toast with butter, a couple pieces of bacon, or even a store-bought muffin. It feels harmless, comforting even, because you've eaten it for decades. But here's the truth that surprised even many of my patients. Certain everyday foods, especially after the age of 60, can quietly clog your arteries and significantly increase your stroke risk. And it happens silently, no pain, no warning, until one day something changes. Hello, I'm Dr. Ariana, and for over 15 years, I've helped older adults protect their heart and brain health through small, practical changes. You see, stroke isn't always about genetics or just bad luck. In fact, a lot of it comes down to daily habits. What you put on your plate, what you sip with your lunch, and what snacks you reach for at night. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 common foods you may be eating that are quietly damaging your blood vessels and putting your brain at risk. Most of them seem perfectly normal, but once you understand how they affect your body, you may never look at them the same way again. And don't worry, I won't just tell you what to stop eating. I'll also give you gentle, heart-friendly alternatives that are simple to add to your daily meals. Let's begin with the first one. It's probably in your fridge right now. Let's start with one of the most common staples in the American kitchen: processed meats, bacon, sausage, ham, deli turkey, salami, hot dogs. They're easy to store, easy to cook, and they taste good. For many older adults, these meats have been part of breakfast or sandwiches for years. But here's the part most people never hear. Processed meats are directly linked to a higher risk of stroke, especially after age 60. Why? Because they're loaded with sodium and preservatives, especially something called nitrites and nitrates. These chemicals are added to keep the meat from spoiling and to give it that appealing pink color. But when they enter your body, they can cause inflammation in your blood vessels, raise your blood pressure, and make your blood stickier, which means it's easier for clots to form. Think about this. A slice of bacon or a deli sandwich may seem like no big deal, but if you're eating them daily, you're flooding your body with salt and chemicals that can slowly stiffen and clog your arteries over time. I remember one patient, Mr. John, age 68. He had a habit of eating ham and cheese sandwiches every day for lunch. One morning, he woke up with a heavy feeling in his arm and trouble forming words. It was a mini stroke. Thankfully, he recovered, but it was a wake-up call. When we reviewed his diet, he was shocked by how much sodium he was consuming, without even realizing it. So what can you do instead? You don't have to give up flavor or convenience. Instead of processed meats, try grilled chicken, baked salmon, or even hard-boiled eggs as your protein source. For sandwiches, go for leftover roast turkey or home-cooked lean meats with fresh herbs for flavor. Also, read labels carefully. If the ingredient list has a long string of preservatives or mentions sodium nitrate, it's best to leave it on the shelf. Your arteries work hard every day to carry blood to your brain. Processed meats make that job harder and more dangerous, but you can turn that around, one meal at a time. Take this step, and you're already on your way to reducing stroke risk and giving your heart and brain the support they need to keep you feeling sharp and strong. Let's move on to the second food. It hides in your baked goods and spreads. Now let's talk about something many seniors switched to years ago, thinking it was a healthier choice: margarine. You may remember when doctors warned us about butter, telling us to replace it with margarine to lower cholesterol. For a while, that seemed like the smart move. But now we know better. And margarine, especially the kind made with partially hydrogenated oils, is one of the worst offenders when it comes to stroke risk. Here's why. Margarine and many baked goods, like store-bought cookies, crackers, and even pie crusts, contain something called trans fats. These fats are created in a lab to make oils more solid and shelf-stable. Sounds convenient, right? But inside the body, trans fats are toxic. They raise your bad LDL cholesterol, lower your good HDL, and promote inflammation in your arteries. Think of your arteries like garden hoses. When trans fats enter your bloodstream, It's like pouring thick glue into those hoses. The walls get sticky, plaque begins to form, and eventually, blood can't move freely. That's when stroke risk goes up. I had a lovely patient, Mrs. Eleanor, 72, who loved baking. She always kept a tub of margarine in her fridge, used it in cookies, toast, everything. She had no idea that a teaspoon here and there was silently harming her arteries. After a health scare and some honest conversation, she switched to real butter and olive oil and never looked back. Her blood pressure came down and her cholesterol improved within months. So what's the takeaway? Avoid anything that says partially hydrogenated on the label. That's trans fat in disguise. Even if it says 0 grams trans fat, it can still legally contain a small amount per serving. Be cautious. Choose healthier fats instead. Olive oil, avocado oil, real butter in moderation. Or nut butters like almond or peanut butter, the natural kind with no added sugar or oils. If you enjoy baking, there are plenty of heart-healthy substitutions. Mashed bananas, applesauce, or even Greek yogurt can replace margarine in many recipes. Your brain depends on smooth, flexible blood vessels to function well. Trans fats stiffen those vessels and slow down blood flow. But by simply changing what you spread on your toast or mix into your batter, you're taking powerful steps to protect your brain and reduce your stroke risk. Next, let's look at a culprit that comes in a can or bottle, often sweet and cold. Now let's talk about something that might be in your fridge right now, sugary drinks. That includes soda, sweetened iced tea, energy drinks, and even many fruit juices that say 100% natural but are loaded with added sugars. They may seem innocent, especially in small amounts, but the effect they have on your body, particularly your blood vessels, is far from sweet. After age 60, your body becomes more sensitive to blood sugar spikes. When you drink something sugary, the glucose floods your bloodstream almost instantly. That sudden rush causes your pancreas to release a surge of insulin, your blood pressure to rise, and your arteries to tighten and inflame. Even more concerning, sugary drinks increase triglycerides, a type of fat in your blood that, in high levels, is strongly linked to stroke and heart attacks. I remember a patient, Mr. Leon, 70 years old. He wasn't overweight and didn't smoke, but he drank 2 cans of cola every day, one with lunch and one with dinner. When he came in for a checkup, his triglyceride levels were through the roof, and he had no idea why. After cutting soda for 3 months and replacing it with herbal teas and lemon water, his numbers improved dramatically. Here's something many people don't realize. A single can of soda contains up to 40 grams of sugar. That's 10 teaspoons. And fruit juices? Even the ones that say no added sugar often have the same effect on your body because they're so concentrated. The real danger is that these drinks don't fill you up. So you might have a sweet drink alongside your meal and not feel any fuller, while still loading your bloodstream with sugar and putting pressure on your blood vessels. So what can you drink instead? Start your day with a full glass of filtered water. Add a slice of lemon, cucumber, or mint if you'd like flavor. Drink unsweetened herbal teas. Chamomile, ginger, or hibiscus are gentle on the body. You can even try sparkling water with a splash of natural fruit juice if you're craving fizz. Your brain needs steady, calm blood flow, not sugar highs and crashes. Reducing sugary drinks is one of the fastest and most powerful ways to lower stroke risk and protect your arteries as you age. Next, let's look at another hidden source of salt that's sitting in drive-thrus and restaurant menus. Now let's take a look at something that's become part of daily life for many seniors. Fast food. It's quick. It's convenient. And when you're tired, not in the mood to cook, or just want a little treat, it feels like the easy option. But here's what I want you to know. Many fast foods are loaded with hidden sodium, and after 60, that excess salt can quietly damage your blood vessels, raising your stroke risk without you feeling a thing. Foods like pizza, fried chicken, French fries, breakfast sandwiches, and even some salads can contain double or triple the recommended daily salt intake in a single meal. the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, recommends that older adults keep sodium levels under 1,500 milligrams per day. Yet one fast food combo meal can top 2,000 milligrams or more. Why is salt such a problem? Because too much sodium causes your body to retain water, which increases blood volume and puts extra pressure on your arteries. Over time, this pressure stretches and weakens the blood vessel walls, making them more likely to rupture or clog. One of my patients, Mrs. Carolyn, age 74, loved getting drive-through chicken nuggets and fries on days she didn't feel like cooking. But she began noticing more swelling in her legs, shortness of breath, and her doctor found that her blood pressure had climbed significantly. After we looked at the sodium content in those small meals, she made a change, prepping a few simple meals at home each week. Within months, her energy improved and her blood pressure stabilized. So how can you protect yourself? Limit takeout meals to once a week or less, and when you do go out, ask for no added salt, skip the sauces, and drink water instead of soda. Even better, try simple home-cooked alternatives, baked chicken with garlic and lemon, roasted vegetables, or a tuna sandwich on whole grain bread with avocado instead of mayo. Flavor doesn't have to come from salt. Use herbs like basil, thyme, rosemary, and spices like turmeric or paprika to bring life to your meals without hurting your arteries. Your heart and brain will thank you for choosing foods that support smoother circulation and less pressure inside those fragile blood vessels. Next, let's talk about something sweet. Yes, we're heading into the dessert tray. Let's talk about something many of us enjoy: dessert. Whether it's a slice of cake after dinner, a donut with your morning coffee, or a scoop of ice cream on a hot afternoon, sweet treats can bring comfort, tradition, and a sense of reward. But as we age, the body's ability to handle these rich, refined desserts changes, and the effects can quietly damage your arteries and raise your stroke risk. Refined desserts are those made with white sugar, white flour, and unhealthy fats. Think cookies, pastries, store-bought pies, boxed cake mixes, and creamy frostings. These foods hit your bloodstream fast, causing a rapid rise in blood sugar followed by a crash. And each time that happens, your body experiences inflammation, oxidative stress, and strain on the blood vessels. Even worse, many of these desserts contain saturated fats and sometimes trans fats, which combine with sugar to raise triglycerides and build plaque inside your arteries, a recipe for stroke over time. I once worked with a woman named Joanne, 72 years old, who always had a cookie jar on the counter. She said, "I only eat 1 or 2 a day, just for a little joy." But when her doctor saw signs of narrowing arteries, we looked more closely. That little joy added up, especially with the kind of fats and sugar those cookies had. Now, I'm not here to say, never enjoy something sweet again. Life is meant to be enjoyed, but mindfully. So what are some better choices? Try fresh fruit, like berries, sliced apple with cinnamon, or a small bowl of chilled melon. These give you natural sweetness along with fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants. You can also enjoy Greek yogurt with a few walnuts and a drizzle of honey, or make your own dessert using oats, bananas, or chia seeds. If you bake, swap white flour for almond flour or whole grain, and replace sugar with mashed fruit or a small amount of honey or maple syrup. The goal isn't to deprive yourself, it's to choose sweetness that nourishes instead of harms. Your brain and arteries thrive on stable blood sugar and smooth circulation. Refined desserts may feel harmless in the moment, but over time, they can quietly raise your risk of a life-changing stroke. Now that we've uncovered these 5 risky foods, let's close with a gentle reminder and an action you can take today. So let's take a moment to breathe and reflect. We've just walked through 5 everyday foods: processed meats, margarine and trans fats, sugary drinks, salty fast food, and refined desserts that may seem small on their own, but over time can quietly clog your arteries and raise your stroke risk. And if you've been eating any of these, please don't feel guilty. Many of us were told for years that margarine was better than butter, or that fruit juice was healthy no matter what. You did the best you could with the knowledge you had, but now that you know more, you can do better. Gently, one step at a time. I'm Dr. Ariana, and after 15 years working with older adults, I've seen something beautiful happen over and over again. When someone over 60 makes even one small change in their daily eating habits, the body responds. The brain becomes sharper, the heart steadier, and life feels clearer and more energized. Start by choosing just one food to swap this week. Maybe it's replacing your breakfast bacon with a hard-boiled egg, or trading your evening soda for a glass of lemon water. Little steps matter. They build momentum. And remember, you're not alone. At Elderly Whisper, we're here to guide you with compassion, clarity, and care. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone you love. Let's take care of our hearts and our brains together.